Well, Martin Pearce looks to have maintained a level pace there in the second row, but he doesn't get the start. In fact, it's let me see, that was Damien Villaume from Ricardo Romkemer in second place. Martin Pearce, I think, in third place in the Tony Kart Leathers. Dropbacks to fourth as I look down the Garda straight. And this on the first lap of 21 for the... Oh, and so one of the drivers getting two wheels on the grass, and that's an awful incident. Well, two drivers coming so close together. In fact, I think it was three drivers almost going piggyback. 236 was one of my drivers. 236 was Roy Kerfs of Holland. He's out of the race. Well, there were three karts, I think, involved there. Roy Kerfs was certainly one of them, but Damien Villaume in the lead from Martin. And Martin Pearce having a tremendous scrap at the front. Goes into third place behind kart number 206. 206 is Wesley Orr. So Damien Villaume, Wesley Orr and Martin Pearce. And that was a move on the last lap of the... Sorry, the last bend of the previous lap. Damien Villaume retains his lead, but Wesley Orr goes into second place. It was Ricardo Romkemer who dropped 2 places from second to fourth, and Martin Pearce regaining some of the lost damage earlier on by getting back a place into third position. Martin Pearce. 204 there in shot is Martin Pearce. 206 is Wesley Orr. So Martin Pearce has now gone past Wesley Orr, but the race leader remains 309, Damien Villaume. Villaume leads. Martin Pearce second, Wesley Orr third, Ricardo Romkemer fourth. The fifth place driver is Mike Usens from Holland, and Leroy Poulter of South Africa up to sixth on his Rotax Euro Challenge debut. Aaron Smith of Ireland in the top 10 at 8. Well done, Aaron Smith. Only started the Rotax Euro Challenge 12 months ago, and then he was in juniors, but in seniors he's running in the top 10 in the final. Also completing the top 10, Tiago Ribeiro of Portugal, the Atlantic island of Madeira. Chris van Baarle in 12th position, but we're looking at the front, and Damien Villaume continues to lead. Damien Villaume completes another lap. 3 laps gone, 18 to go. Well, the medical staff attending one of the drivers couldn't identify who that is, but we'll try and do that a little bit later on. The Sodicart Racing overalls. What a smooth style of Damien Villaume. You see there that Damien Villaume just lets his body ride all of those bumps, ride the curves, ride the bends, and an extremely good effort. And 236 we've already identified as Roy Kerfs, and that may be Roy Kerfs receiving medical attention. Roy Kerfs, a Dutchman, of course. Roy Kerfs is driving a combi kart, entrant of Hugo Motorsport. Well, we're on lap 3 of 21, and here is the race leader, Jerome Boucard. He's put distance between himself and Martin Pearce. Third place driver is the former world champion, kart number 206, Wesley Orr. Actually, he's the current world champion in DD2, but the former world champion in Rotax Max Senior won the title 2 years in a row. At Lanzarote, Canary Islands was the scene of one of his victories. Well, Jerome Boucard leads them onto the back straight and has about a 10-length lead over Martin Pearce. Martin Pearce actually making a little bit of inroads into the race leader. Mike Usens in 5th place, the pugnacious Dutchman, kart number 272. He was second in Salbris, and a place being lost there, an error being punished. That was kart number 298, Leroy Poulter, punishing Mike Usens. So the vastly experienced South African Leroy Poulter taking a place there at the expense of the Dutchman. Mike Usens goes back a place. Aaron Smith up a place to 7th. Martin Pearce, the world number 3, second place, getting closer to Damien Villaume. Closer to Damien Villaume. This is the 1 and 2. We're on the back straight. Both of them look over the shoulder. We're on lap 5 of 21. Martin Pearce tracking down the race leader, Damien Villaume. Well, Martin Pearce was third in the Rotax World Challenge at Langkawi, Malaysia last November. And 3 years previous to that, he was third before. So twice he's been a world number 3. The vastly experienced Englishman from the south of England, but at the moment he's giving second best to Damien Villaume of France. Damien Villaume of France. Damien Viome leads Martin Pearce, Wesley Orr third, Ricardo Romkema completes his good form with a 4th place in the final so far. Leroy Poulter running his best in 5th place, Mike Hewson's at 6th, Aaron Smith 7th. Aaron Smith so unlucky not to become the first Irishman to win a Rotax Euro Challenge race at Salbris, but there we are, the bad luck happens. Kevin Freisacker of Austria is the brother of a Formula 1 car racer, former Minardi driver. And we come to the 1/3 race distance. We're on lap 7 of 21. And driving standards flag being shown to Kevin Freisacker. So Kevin Freisacker, car number 310 from Austria, being shown the driving standards flag. That means, Kevin, the stewards are looking at you closely to see what you're doing. Damien Viome had just under half a second on Martin Pearce, but it looks less than that from the screen now. And 228 and 221 go out. Well, 228 is Pete Scafels and 221 is Chris Van Baarle. That was an incident on the approach to the internal chicane, if you will, approaching the pits bend. 221 tries to get himself going and does so. Well, that is kart number 221, Chris Van Baarle, but he'll be way down the field now, and that elevates 1 or 2 people. John Freeberg of Sweden is now in the top 10 at 10. Thiago Ribeiro 9th, Kevin Freisacker down to 8th, Aaron Smith 7th, Mike Hewson 6th, but the race leader, Damien Viome, he looks over his right shoulder. I tell you what you see, Damien, you see Martin Pearce very close to you. 309, Damien Viome. 204, Martin Pearce. This is the start line, and it's 12 laps to go. 12 laps to go. Driving standards flag being shown to Pete Scafels. Well, Pete Scafels was one of the drivers involved in the off. The other one was kart number 221, Chris Van Baarle. So the inference there is that the officials thought that Chris Van Baarle was the unlucky guy in a scrap with Pete Scafels. And somebody who comes to a bit of a halt there, just having a look at through the glasses, not able to pick up who that driver was. And in fact, we think we identify it as kart number 221, which is Christian Van Baarle. So after that incident with Peter Scafels, it looks as if Christian Van Baarle is not circulating, certainly not at racing pace, and is not going to feature at the front of this one. Well, we're on 9 of 21, so heading towards the half race distance. You see there how race leader Damien Viome gets his head down. Martin Pearce is tracking him strongly. You just have the feeling that Martin Pearce will make a move at some stage, but when do you make it? Do you make the move as soon as you get the chance, or do you wait till later in the race to make your move? Of course, it depends how tyres degrade. Some tyres are going to be much more effective later in the race. Others will be consistent throughout. I suppose the obvious thing to also say is some tyres degrade seriously and give problems of handling later in the race. This is a 21 lap race. It's the longest of our races that we have here at Lonato, as another lap is completed. 10 laps to go, 10 laps to go.